The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's annual letter has now just come out. You both write about how this pandemic, in your view, will be as defining as World War II. What are the key steps to take right now?
Well, we have to do two things at once. We have to bring this epidemic to an end, primarily by getting the vaccine out in large numbers to the entire world. And we have to make sure that we're ready because there will be another pandemic. And there's so many lessons about how we weren't prepared, how we should have handled things differently.
Smallpox was one of the most frightening diseases the world has known. It killed at least 300 million people in the last century before it was eradicated. So it came as quite a surprise when the U.S. government revealed yesterday that vials of smallpox had been forgotten for decades and were just discovered in a cardboard box.
The vials were found in a third-floor storage room in Building 29A. A total of 327 vials were found in 12 boxes containing dengue, influenza, Q fever, and rickettsia viruses. Investigators have destroyed 32 vials on the NIH facility, which contained samples of non-contagious specimens. 279 vials of assorted viruses were sent to Homeland Security's National Biodefense Analysis and Countermeasures Center in Fort Detrick, Maryland, and 16 unlabeled vials have been shipped to the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta. Prior to the discovery of these vials, only 2 labs in the world, one at the CDC and the other near Novosibirsk, Russia, were supposed to store smallpox samples.
Steve Monroe runs the Division of High Consequence Pathogens.
Is it possible the smallpox can still grow?
It's possible, but we don't know for sure if the smallpox virus in these samples will still be able to grow in the laboratory.
What's your guess?
I will not be surprised if one or more of these samples contains live growing smallpox virus.
But then you're going to destroy it and it'll be gone forever?
We will destroy it and it will be gone forever.
The vials appear to date back to the 1950s. From that moment, the CDC, NIH, FBI, FDA, and World Health Organization worked closely to develop a plan of action. The White House was immediately informed that a potential agent of bioterrorism had been found.
The CDC says that laboratory testing shows vials marked as smallpox at a Merck facility in Montgomery County contain no trace of the virus known to cause smallpox. Officials say that the vials contain Vaccinia, the virus used in smallpox vaccine. A worker discovered the vials while cleaning out a freezer.
Smallpox at a Merck facility in Pennsylvania. The CDC says a lab worker found the vials while cleaning out a freezer in a center that conducts vaccine research. Lawmakers have long argued about whether to keep samples of the deadly virus or to destroy all known copies. The exact location of the incident has not been disclosed, but the closest Merck sites to Philadelphia are the sprawling campuses in West Point and North Wales, Montgomery County. In a statement, the CDC said the laboratory worker who discovered the vials was wearing gloves and a face mask. There is no indication that anyone has been exposed to the small number of frozen vials. The CDC is joining law enforcement to investigate the matter.
There were a total of 15 questionable vials found in the freezer inside of this facility in Upper Gwinnett Township. That facility was placed on lockdown. That has since been lifted, but smallpox is considered so deadly that only 2 labs in the world are authorized to store samples of it. One is in Russia, the other is the CDC in Atlanta.
Because it wasn't clear where we stood on stocks of smallpox vaccine. Somebody had the idea, I think, that there was maybe as much as 20 million doses. Turned out the figure was 90,000. 90,000 doses of smallpox vaccine for the country.
D.A. Henderson went down to the White House and went around Washington, and he basically twisted a whole lot of arms and got a whole lot of money.
We went full steam ahead, and by 18 months, we had 220 million doses.
The end result, quite quickly, was a national stockpile of smallpox vaccine so that every person in the United States could be vaccinated in the event of a national or global smallpox emergency.
we have enough doses of the smallpox vaccine. But people need to be aware that the prospect of using this virus as a biological weapon hasn't dimmed at all.
What was the security involved in moving the samples from Bethesda, Maryland to the CDC?
The security involved the cooperation of the FBI as well as local law enforcement, and so there was ground transport to the appropriate air assets that were provided by FBI.
Monroe says the trickiest part was making sure nothing happened to the fragile glass vials that had likely been stored for 50 to 60 years.
How could this have happened?
I think this is one of those flukes. It's sort of the trunk that's in the attic that nobody's looked at for many, many years.
Are you asking lab directors to go through their inventories, look under the tables, look in the closets?
Certainly one of the lessons learned from this episode is that laboratories around the world should have a firm idea of what they have in their collections, and that people should make an effort to do a complete inventory.
The material in the vials was freeze-dried, and the end of each glass tube sealed shut with a flame. In all 6 vials of smallpox, the seal was intact.
John, why does Steve Monroe think some of the virus may still be alive?
Well, there are instances of the past where vaccine against smallpox, and that contains live virus, was freeze-dried, it was sealed shut just in a similar fashion, and then it was stored for 20 years or longer. It was reconstituted, and it was still infectious. So the question is, how long was the current sample stored at 5 degrees centigrade, and was it ever at room temperature, and will it at the end of the day be able to be infectious? We still have to see.
And then they're going to destroy it.
Absolutely.
John, thanks very much.